How much is social media impacting the mental health today?
Right, so social media, mobile usage, media usage, we never used to be on our phones for 7 to 8 hours. Almost every second person is being consumed by their devices right now.
Right.
So it is, of course, is affecting our physical health, our mental health, our eyes, our brain functioning, our attention span. It is increasing aggression. See, understand, we have apps that are delivering our food in 10 minutes. You know, within a blink of an eye, whatever you
We are
want, you
getting
just
things,
get.
yeah.
If you want to eat something, there might be a hawker outside your home itself.
Absolutely.
So earlier that was not the case.
Yeah, in metro cities, we are getting food even at 4 a.m. and even groceries are coming like in 6
So
minutes and
earlier
that too at
was
3 a.m.
exactly. And now because of all these things, the more facilities we are getting, the more restless and impatient we are becoming. And with that comes the aggression.
And the expectations are more and more.
Right.
Right.
So the attention span is going down, the patience level is going down. We need instant gratification that we call the dopamine hit. You know, the dopamine reward pathway is activated by achieving very small things. You order something online and then you get the delivery and then you have that instant gratification. Oh wow, I was able to get
And
this.
yeah, this is happening because if you are supposed to get your food in 30 minutes and it does not come in 30 minutes, you'll end up going to the chat and shouting at the delivery guy or abusing them even, or even, you know, fighting with them that how could it be delayed for 10 more minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
So these are some of the factors. Now besides that, the work culture has drastically changed throughout the world. The work-life balance has changed. The school environment has changed. Even the schools are shifting more to teaching through tabs and online medium rather
Too much
than
exposure on the screen.
So understand, we are sitting and talking here and we have white walls behind us. Now imagine the wall behind you is in red color and the wall behind me is in black color, and then continuously I'm looking at that wall. So it's too much exposure to a stimulus, to a color.
Right.
That will definitely lead some kind of emotional changes.
And the same thing is happening with screen time.
Right. So I don't need to see a traveling video, a cooking video, religious video, everything within a span of 2 minutes.
Correct.
I don't need to get so much of knowledge. Our brain is not trained in a way that we need to take in so much of knowledge.
But we're all doing it.
So much of stimulation. So we are getting overstimulation. Our brain cells are just being fried to taking that information and to release the dopamine and activate the dopamine reward pathways. So we are constantly...
Yeah, as you said, we need instant gratification.
Right.
Since we're talking about the social media part and the impact that's happening on mental health, how much role is it playing in people getting anger, a lot of aggression and frustration? Like, people are in rage these days. Do you think it has something to do with this?
Definitely it has, because it's very easy to just type and send a text or post a comment and express your rage without having any actual consequences.
Yeah, there's no boundary to it.
There's
now.
no accountability.
There's no accountability.
There's no consequences.
Correct.
So now when I'm expressing my rage, a lot of people are appreciating also. A lot of people are coming in my support and a lot of people are countering my point, and then I argue with them. Right. So when I'm getting support from people, it reinforces, oh, I have done something right.
Right. Correct.
So now I feel that, yeah, this is the way things should be dealt with. So definitely rage is increasing, aggression is increasing, and like we discussed, that patience level is going down. So with that, of course, the aggression, the need, the tendency to get my needs fulfilled immediately. So the tolerance is going down. So it is, of course, leading to aggression, and then it reflects in the interpersonal relationships, in our friend circles, in our day-to-day life, in our social gatherings. So of course it is coming out in different areas of life.
So Nandini, as we've come to a conclusion that it is vital to seek professional help if needed, it is vital to observe what's happening with us or anybody around us for that matter. It is important to see the changes and observe those changes and work on them. So while we're talking that seeking professional help is important, how do these therapies or medications help? And let's say if I'm starting a therapy, what should one expect? Is it short duration, long duration? हमें उम्मीद क्या रखनी चाहिए कि अगर मैं थेरेपीज पे जा रही हूँ तो क्या मुझे रिजल्ट मिलेगा?
First thing that we need to understand that therapy is not a quick fix. It's not that we pop a pill and then everything
Right. It's not an overnight solution.
Right. Nothing gets magically resolved. And secondly, therapists are mostly facilitators. It's not that if someone is coming with their concerns or mental health issues to me, then I will be sitting and solving their problem. No therapist does that, and no therapist should be doing that.
Correct.
That is more of guidance or supervision, and that is not therapy. So we facilitate, we help individual identify their patterns, their behavioral patterns, their thought patterns, how are things.
So basically, a therapist works with your own self, and a therapist helps you recover your own self with their professional ways of dealing with it.
Right. So the client also need to invest a lot when we talk about therapy, bringing about real time changes in their day-to-day life, in their routine. If something is being discussed in the therapy session and being explored, then the client needs to go back, sit on that, reflect, work and bring into practice in day-to-day life.
So it's very important to act upon all the advices and the techniques that the therapist is trying to take you through in these sessions.
Right. So I'll share a very common metaphor that a therapist will not save you from drowning, but the therapist will help you to learn swimming.
Correct. That's a very important thing. Yeah. Since we have an expert, I would definitely go ahead and ask, what do you personally do in times when you're feeling overwhelmed? What's your easiest or the crucial way of coping overwhelmed situations?
All right. So if you ask my personal experience or personal take on being overwhelmed, first of all, I avoid overdoing anything. I just don't want to, immediately find solutions to problem or just resolve it. Now my body is giving me indications, body and mind both, they are giving me indications that I need to step back and, relax and chill for a bit to deal with the situation. So that is what I try to do. Take a step back, let myself calm down, let myself not overreact in the situation. Even if I feel like, blurting out or saying something, we all are humans, we end up doing
Correct.
that. So it's always better to take a step back and not react instantly. Give yourself time, relax,
Ease down.
have a glass of water, do some mindfulness activities, take a long breath, do some breathing techniques. I mean, they all really help. Change the temperature. If you're feeling extremely cold, then move to a warmer temperature. Seek a blanket, seek a shawl, and then wrap yourself.
So all these little things you think they really help you feel better.
If you're feeling hot, have a cold glass of water, wash your face with cold water, wash your feet with cold water. They will not resolve your problem, they will not solve your long-term issue, but it will give you some instant relief and comfort to get in tune with your thoughts, sit down with your thoughts and then reflect that how can I work on the problem in hand.
So now I want to ask a question. People seek alternate therapies, medication, yoga, breathing techniques, journaling for that matter. How much do these things play a role? And are these things only good to do when you're going through mental health issues, or these things anyways one should adapt in the day-to-day life since our lifestyle is so hectic? What's your take on that?
See, I'll just say that to each one their own. If for someone yoga is helpful, they should go for it. They should make it a part of their everyday life. Similarly, if someone thinks that if I lift weights in gym and it helps me feel better, go for it. If taking a walk helps, please go for it. If you think that meditation or even seeking a help from a pandit or religious practitioner and praying,
right,
it is meditative, it helps people in getting a balance in their mental health.
Correct.
So everything contributes to your well-being. So there's no fixed rule that you should only go to a psychologist or a psychiatrist when you start having issues and stress in your life. Whatever helps in every little way, please make it a part of your day-to-day life. Keep practicing it. Again, like we go to the gym, we eat food every day when we feel hungry. So if my body feels stressed, I need to figure out what are the ways that help me in dealing with stress. For someone it can be dancing, for someone it can be
and for some people
gardening,
and for some people it's absolutely doing nothing. Sometimes they just don't want to do anything and they feel better. That's what they feel, their body is reviving.
Do what your body is telling you to do, and just listen to the command of your mind and body, and then probably you will be able to figure out ways to deal with your problems. And having said that, when you feel yes, I need to go to a professional, then please
do not hesitate.
Do go to a professional.
Right. So it was a very interactive session, and the best part we've got to know is that listen to your mind, listen to your body, because you are living in your body and that's where you have to live forever. So it's very important to notice little things, and even just walking, listening to songs, meditating, doing prayers, even sitting with friends and talking, everything helps for mental health. The lifestyle is changing, we are busy, but it's also important to take a pause, to stop for a while and see what's bothering you and what's making you happy, and keep doing things that make you happy. Thank you so much for your time, Ms. Nandini.